Today we're talking about one of my favorite characters in the game, because I really like him, is the new voiced Jonathan. He's really cool. He's the Tarkus fight Jonathan, where he gets Zeppeli's Hamon and he becomes supercharged. I've seen opinions on this guy kind of run the gamut, like anywhere from he's a must-skip terrible unit to he's really good. And I think the answer is he is pretty good. He's pretty good. I think he's basically a parallel to voiced Giorno with some minor differences. Obviously, their pattern is different. You can see the funky pattern that Jonathan gets versus Giorno's kind of straightforward horizontal line pattern. And then the cooldown is a little bit different. Giorno at maximum. Mine's not at 5 yet. I do want to get him there. He's 75 at max. Giorno is 70, so Giorno's a little bit faster as well. A big difference that I think people aren't really talking about, because he kind of just looks like a direct. I don't care about stickers. He kind of just looks like a direct downgrade to voiced Giorno, like on his face, which I don't necessarily agree with. I mean, he doesn't work with Diavolo, and voiced Giorno does, because he doesn't hit all of Diavolo's tiles. He has no way to clear 2 of the blocks that Diavolo makes. But with Risotto, I think he's actually better than Giorno just because of the shtick where, you know how Risotto has the little trick where you come out of stand-up time and everybody's fully charged and you just mash Risotto and the other character's skills back and forth over and over again until they work, until you're right back in stand-up time again, basically. I think he's actually like better at that than Giorno is, because the weird, like, awkward format or like formation that he has when compared to Giorno that seems weird and kind of mediocre at first, actually lends itself well to Risotto, because with Giorno you have the weird, like, not delay, but like what do you call it? The weird, like, off, like, what am I trying to say? They don't feel balanced entirely, like where Risotto's tiles go, because Risotto can just drop shitty tiles on your face in bad spots, and you can't do anything about it. Like right now, there's some Risottos that are laying on the board. But even with these Risotto tiles, it's really hard for Risotto to make a replacement tile that goes somewhere that it will not touch Jonathan's thing. So, like, sometimes with Giorno, you'll have him hit Giorno's bottom row, and then he'll change some shit up at the top that, like, doesn't touch Giorno at all. But with Jonathan's pattern, it's really hard for him to do that, just because Jonathan takes up so much of the screen. You know what I mean? Like, he eats a lot of space wherein any tile that Risotto could change will touch. I think the only way that Risotto can change a tile without touching Jonathan's pattern is if he hits one of the 4 corners. And he's dropping multiple tiles, so he would have to do that multiple times. So I think it's easier to do this kind of loopy thing with Risotto and Jonathan, just because it's tough for Risotto to screw it up. Risotto every now and again will like mess it up for you, right? Like you'll use it, but like, see how there's a bunch of Risotto tiles on the board, so you're not going to get the full combo, but you can at least get some of it. Because when it comes to this kind of combo specifically, like even with Giorno, it's not so much about filling out the whole board as much as it is getting all those charge tiles and just getting a sufficient amount to relaunch, which you can do even without getting the full board. But Giorno just doesn't, I don't know, at least in my experience, I've had issues getting Giorno to fit perfectly where I want him. And with Jonathan, there's just that doesn't happen. Jonathan replaces his little ring. Risotto has nowhere to go but to make a connection, so you almost always get the charge out of it. Like, I don't think I've ever used the combo. Now that I've said I've never done it, I'm going to do it here, and it's going to happen, watch. But I don't think I've ever used this pair and had Risotto miss Jonathan completely. Like, I don't think I've ever had him land only in the corners. I think that is the only place. I think he can only do the 4 corners without touching. And, oh my god, he just did it right there! But he's still connected, so it's okay. And I also don't think I've ever used this combo without it resulting in a double skill recovery. See, there's that one Jonathan and the ones in the corners. He actually did it, the bastard. He seriously did it to me. By the way, this combo, or this style of combo anyway, is why we now have skill limits in stand-up time. So you can't just do this for 45 years. Oh, this is gonna be a fat one. This is gonna be a fat one. Also, man, look at this Jonathan sprite. Like, okay, I am gonna say this. Making him voiced feels kind of shitty. Because pretty much everything he does is just go, oh, it's like all he does. So that kind of sucks. And it feels like they only made him voiced so they could feel better about making him limited. Because, like, he doesn't say Sunlight Yellow Overdrive, he doesn't do, like, the beat of his Hamon or anything like that. He literally just grunts, except for his win quote. So that feels kind of sucky. But I really like his ability. I think he's fun to use. I think we finally have a Hamon user other than Machine Gun Joseph. I was going to say Machine Gun Jonathan. Other than Machine Gun Joseph that I think is good. I actually think that this guy now is the best Hamon user in the game. Which I like, because I like the Hamon users and stuff. It's cool to have a Hamon user that doesn't suck, basically. For most of this game's life, Hamon characters have been... I mean, okay. Original Jonathan is good. The one that... Oh my god. Oh my god. Why don't I ever turn that off? Why don't I ever turn that off? Why am I stupid? Original Jonathan is really good. Stop. Just because of, like, the bulk of what he did. This guy... So, the original Jonathan actually is someone that kind of is comparable. This guy reminds me a lot of original Jonathan. Because I remember when Sword Jonathan came out, everyone kind of felt cheated because he ended up being worse than original Jonathan. This is the voice unit that actually feels like an upgrade to original Jonathan. Oh my god, this is going to be a fat one. Oh my god. Yeah, this is the voice character that actually feels like a legitimate upgrade to the original Jonathan. Like, he's kind of a specialty character, in the sense that, like, without doing this kind of risotto trick, he's nowhere near, like... Title changer characters in general are usually as good as whoever makes them good, right? Like, that's part of the reason why Risotto is so crazy, is that he makes all title changers like this. But, at least in my experience, this is one of the best combos I've seen for Risotto, just because of how difficult it is for Risotto to ever not recharge himself. Like, the only real issue that I've ever had using the Risotto pair, like Risotto and a changer, is when Risotto is in a situation where he ends up not gaining his own skill back, because, like, Risotto tiles fall on the board or whatever, and so he can't get a big combo going. Or, like, he'll hit all of Voice Giorno's tiles at the bottom or something, and then he'll change only Voice Giorno's in the top rows that never touch. It's really hard for him to be in a situation where he doesn't get his skill back from this. So, okay, now he just did it, because of course he did. Because you see, he missed the Jonathan down here at the bottom. So, it did happen the one time. But, actually, we might still get Jonathan's skill out of this. We hurry. Quick, quick, quick! I said hurry, game, not be really slow. Ah! Right at the last second! No! That's okay, we can do the loop again, at least. Okay, so it happened one time. But that's the first time it's ever happened to me. Might happen this time, because there's a lot of risottos in that top row. Nope, didn't happen. Let's go, Jonathan! Man, it's so hard, like... I don't know why, because he's literally one of the protagonists, but I feel like seeing a cool Jonathan is, like, so much cooler than seeing a cool Giorno, or, like, a really popular, like, contemporary stand user character. Maybe it's just because everybody hates on Phantom Blood, I don't know. But it's hard for me not to get hyped when I see a Jonathan that's just out here throwing hands like crazy. Like, his pattern is so weird, but it works. I don't know why they made his pattern like a wheel. I don't know what the reference is, if that's a reference to something, or if they literally were just like, I'm bored, let's make a pattern. Okay, how about a funky wheel? But, like, it works in this specific context for this specific partner character. I don't know why, but personally, I think that should you pull or not is kind of a question of how much do you like Jonathan, basically. He is really good. Like, I think he's one of the better characters in the game, at least for tile-changing purposes. He's not the best tile changer, but he's not the worst tile changer, you know? I think he's one of the best tile changers right now. I'm sure there are people that disagree with me, but personally, I like him a lot. I think there's a lot of value in what he does, especially with Risotto. I don't know. I guess, should you poll, the answer is basically just, how much do you like Jonathan? How much do you like what Jonathan does? How much, are you a Phantom Blood fan? Because I know a lot of people don't really like Phantom Blood. And I do. Quite a bit. He's crazy good with Risotto, man. Look at this. Like, he clears all the block tiles and everything. Super good. Like, Giorno just feels limited. Not limited, but at least funky in this combination. Like, just because of the big gap of the board that Risotto can target that doesn't benefit him. And it's just hard. I know I've said it like a million times, but I don't know if that was their intention when they made this character, and I almost want to say it probably wasn't their intention when they made the character. For his combo to, like, specifically benefit Risotto in this way, to be like a combination. But I can never tell, because it feels like units always come out with, like, these funky quirks that don't seem to make a whole lot of sense right away, and then they're like, oh, it works exactly with this character. Like, he's literally, like, they designed Doppio literally for Diavolo, you know? And granted, that one makes sense, and designing Jonathan for Risotto doesn't really make sense, but it works, and I have to wonder if it was on purpose. So I feel like the creators of this game know what they're doing sometimes, you know what I mean? They make characters, and they make them do things. Like, I know this is just the Risotto loop, but damn, if he doesn't do the Risotto loop really goddamn well. If only he said Sunlight Yellow Overdrive. Which means that they're gonna make us wait for another... We have 2 voice Jonathans already. And we're gonna have to wait for another voice Jonathan that screams Sunlight Yellow Overdrive, which I think is a bit of a ripoff, personally. But the rest is pretty awesome. This is also great because now we're gonna get a really fat hit right before standard time. We got that little tiny chunk. Yeah, this is definitely why we now have skill limits in stand-up time. Or not in stand-up time, in score attack mode. This is where the 15 limit came from. Risotto and Part 4 Jotaro are the only characters to bust the game so bad that they had to literally change the way the game works so that you couldn't do it anymore. That's a lot of lightning, boys. I always thought it would make more sense if, like, the Hamon characters were the Chargers, because I feel like the lightning is literally Hamon, or it's what it's supposed to look like. But I feel like all the best Chargers aren't Hamon characters, except for, like, I guess, voiced, or not voiced, I guess Machine Gun Joseph is pretty good, but it just feels like all the best tile changers are not Hamon characters. Why am I saying? I think I'm just rambling and saying shit that's not coherent. It feels like all the best chargers are not Hamon characters, even though the animation for being charged is, like, visibly looks like Hamon. And that is weird to me. Those are the words I'm trying to say. Just got done with a long recording session of Eyes of Heaven, so I'm, like, rambling. Because in that game, I'm basically just fanboying the entire time about how cool everything is. But yeah, voice Jonathan... I guess I can't even say that, because now there's more than one. Man, Game, I need you to work with me on these fucking abbreviations. Jonathan version 3, Naked Jonathan, Titty Jonathan. I'm just gonna call him Titty Jonathan. Titties Out Jonathan. So I think Titties Out Jonathan is pretty good. I personally really like him. I'm probably gonna use him more than a lot of other characters when I play. I also more than most people probably value characters for who they are over how good they are. So like, take with a grain of salt when I say that I think he's very strong. But personally, I think that he's my favorite for the risotto combo just because of how well he works in the combo. I really like his animation. I don't like his voice lines. They were a bit of a letdown. And I don't think his banner is really all that great. I'm not a huge fan of... Well, okay, that's not true. I'm a huge fan of voiced Dio Brando, but I don't think he's that good. So, I really like him, and I'm glad I own him, and I use him all the time, but there's nothing crazy coming out of him, you know what I mean? Jonathan is quite a bit better than voiced Dio Brando. I think that Jonathan's one of the best characters in the game. I don't really want to have to argue... Oh, no, I didn't get it in time. 16 million, pretty good, though. No power-ups used or anything. Pretty good. No power-ups, and I didn't pay any attention to the stickers. I don't think the stickers help at all with what I was doing. I think they're all eraser stickers for Part 4 JoJo. It's a good combo. It's a fun combination. I like it a lot. This is the only part, like the only line from him that I like is the line right here, plus the Hamon pose. Look at how cool he looks, dude. I really like Jonathan. Should you pull? Probably not. I feel like should you pull in this game is kind of a redundant question. Because the answer to that question is usually, are either of the risottos, Part 4 Jotaro, High Dio, or Anubis Polnareff on the banner? And if the answer to any of those 5 are no, then you probably don't need to pull. Because you need those guys more than anything. This guy is probably more of a quote-unquote, like a whale unit, more of a collector's unit than anything. Because, you know, he needs the old Risotto to be good, and old Risotto kind of got kicked in the teeth in Score Attack. Like, he can still do stuff, but the limit really hurts him, and then the new voiced Risotto being the new hotness definitely kind of takes the wind out of his sails a little bit there, too. But I really like Jonathan. Should you pull? Up to you. I would say probably for most people, no. If you're not willing to buy diamonds, definitely no, because you got to be saving your diamonds for more important characters than him. But if you really like Phantom Blood and you really like Jonathan, or you're a big avid Risotto user, and you're just not content with Risotto as he is without like some of the other characters in here, this guy is really good for Risotto. Like, look at that. So I was right. So the only places that Risotto can place tiles that will not make one big combo with this pattern is the 4 corners. So anywhere else Risotto places a tile, no matter how few tiles he gets, because a lot of times you're trying to do that rotation or whatever, and you get kind of screwed over because Risotto just drops tiles in a funky spot and it doesn't work out. No matter where he puts them, unless it's the 4 corners, you're getting that full combo, which makes it that much easier to get all of that charge, and it lets you keep the combo going. I mean, you saw me do it like a million times. That was the whole video, basically, was me just doing that one combination. But I think it's really fun using him. I really like him. I like the lesser-loved JoJo characters a little. Like, I mean, he's not lesser-loved. He's a main character. He's JoJo. But, like, people lose their mind for Giorno and Jotaro and Dio, and people don't really lose their mind for Jonathan Joestar. So I like him. I think he's cool that he's this good. Yeah, and that's my thoughts. That long, incoherent, rambling mess is my thoughts. So, thank you guys for tuning in and watching this far. I appreciate it, all of you all. We got some big stuff coming. We got some more Eyes of Heaven coming. We got the audiobook continuation. We got a collaboration coming soon with a Pitter Patter Pop content creator that I'm looking forward to. So yeah, stay tuned. We hit 10,000. Let's hit 20,000. Thank you guys, and I will see you next time. Bye. Wave. See ya.